you did. Yeah, I know. And I wanna talk about it. And I know you don't. I've been holding guard for so long. And I don't know where to start now. Tell me where you hide. Where do you go? Tell me, is she mine?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey. How's everybody doing today?
Doing awesome. How about you?
I'm good. That was a cool little intro, wasn't it?
I know. I love it. It was beautiful.
I love it. Every time I see it, I smile. So let's get into a few things. Welcome to Dope Chycks Collective Podcast, where women of color like to talk about things that affect us, or that has affected us, that we're healing from, or that we need to heal through, and things that we can do in our community to make it a better community. I'm here with my panel. Well, some of them. I've got some missing pieces today, but it's all good. We're going to talk about our mental health status during this quarantine, this COVID-19 thing, and how it's affected us in our mental health and our relationships. My name is Danie Blue. I'm your host for today. We have TNT, who is my co-host, and my ladies, Miss Sakina up top, and Miss Tisa, and I know Shannon's somewhere in the background. I'm not sure why we don't see her right now, but there's some other players that are here as well.
Yeah,
so like we like to start out things with poetry as always. So as you can see, the title for our discussion today is "Okay Not to Be Okay." So I wrote like a very, very, very like short to the point poem for that. It says, "Today, I'm not okay. I was just fine yesterday. But today, I'm in my bed. I just want to lay in my bed. Thoughts of chaos fill my head, scared of the realities ahead. My thoughts of tomorrow, I'm scared to say, hoping I'll feel better by Friday. But today, I'm not okay." And that's that.
Wow.
You're so silly.
Good job.
And you put that up quickly, too.
I did like in 2 minutes.
Talented.
Very.
But we have a talented group of ladies, period. But this is going to be fun because we actually can get callers in now. And people can call in and talk to us now.
Okay?
Oh, that's awesome.
We got messages.
That's a whole new
That's a whole new thing for us, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not used to that.
Right. We got to get used to that because that means we're going to have opinions.
Yeah.
Which I'm cool with. Everybody's entitled.
Let's get into it.
What we're going to do.
Introduce the ladies.
Huh?
I'm going to give everybody a minute, introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute.
Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and go around and do intros. We're going to start with you, TNT.
Well, thank you for the intro into the intro. I'm TNT. Many people know me in the community with the Cincinnati NAACP. I'm the second vice president, criminal justice chair. I'm very active in my community as it relates to activism. I'm also a writer, have a book. I Want My Daddy, The Psychology of Abandonment, on Amazon, little plug. And I've been doing those face masks as well. So I guess a little black-owned entrepreneur, all-around mother of 3, and dope chick.
Hey, you better
need that dance. Yes, ma'am.
Hey.
Look like a ninja.
You know, that's our.
I'm not a ninja.
I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
Love you. Okay, Miss Sakina, let's do it.
It's my turn.
Yep.
I'm Sakina. I guess at this point, I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
co-owner of Inclusive Solutions for Families. We are an agency to take care of people with developmental disabilities. We just founded 2 new businesses. Everyone Needs Someone, community services, and Everyone Needs Someone, residential homes, EONs for short. And we're soon to be delving into one more business venture that I don't want to quite say yet, but it's on the horizon. Mother of 4. My activism is so many things. I'm passionate about a lot of stuff. But Danie always says my activism is mental health, which it is. I'm a huge mental health advocate. I'm an advocate for Black women, an advocate for single mothers, teen mothers. So I just do a lot. I just overall do a lot.
Yeah. And where is Shannon? She was just there.
I know. She'll pop back in.
I can't see Monique. Can you guys? I can see Monique on the live, but I can't see Monique on here with us.
I'm here. You guys have me backstage.
Oh.
Okay, look at those browns. Yes.
Hey, I don't know why my camera is weird like this right now. It seems like the reverse. But yes. So I'm getting beautified today because I'm doing a photo shoot with my mom and my sister. But I'm Shannon Crutchfield, Sold by Shannon. I'm a local realtor, mom, and philanthropist. And I'm just, I'm involved with Dope Chicks to help the movement, and do my part. I'm not a person who likes to be, the main thing or the popular thing. I just want to be a candle that lights other candles, and those candles keep lighting other candles, and my flame never gets extinguished. So Dope Chicks definitely gives me an avenue to do that. So thank you, Crystal, Danie Blue, and ladies.
And you are such a candle to me as well as the group. So we could definitely contest to that for sure.
Well,
and where is Miss Monique?
I'm right here. You can't see
backstage as well.
Bring me up.
No, I see her.
I can see her on the thing. I can't see her with us.
Oh.
But you there. We can see you and hear you on Facebook.
Okay, well, I will introduce myself. My name is Monique. I'm an early childhood education teacher. I'm also a blogger. Monique in Real Life is where you can go check me out. And I just write things about self-empowerment, self-care, self-love, and just trying to be the overall cheerleader for us sisters here in the Black community. And outside, whoever want to be an ally, that's who I'm down for. I'm also a mother of 4. I'm a wife to a very busy husband, also helping him to grow his empire at Major Entertainment. You can check him out somewhere around here for entertainment things. So yeah, I'm here. I feel blessed to be a dope chick with all these phenomenal, beautiful women.
Okay.
Yes, and we are so blessed to have you. All of you guys are like blessings to me. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all probably have y'all stories about me, but y'all just don't understand how y'all keep me together, how y'all keep me inspired, just motivated to do the next thing. So I guess we're still waiting on a couple more folks. So I guess I'll introduce myself. I don't like doing this. Let's just start there. So my name is Danie Blue, aka Crystal. I am by trade a psychology specialist. I used to work in mental health as a case manager for a few years, realizing that I didn't like the politics that is involved in the mental health system. So I decided to try to see what I can do on my own to help my community. So my background is I have 2 bachelor's degrees, one in community psychology and another one in women's studies. Those are both very important to what we do. I am activist in those areas. I have done everything from domestic violence shelters, all kind of different roles in that setting. I have worked with child sexual abuse survivors. I have worked with the LGBTQ community in trying to get equal rights, helping with trans issues and things like that as well. I'm also a mom, but all my children are grown. So I get to be a grandma now, which is kind of fun.
Can't be nobody's grandma looking that young.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 of them come January. So I'm very excited for the extension of my family. It's definitely a blessing. I love to travel. I'm a travel agent as well. You will catch me on Facebook, and we got a new thing coming. Where in the world are you, Danie Blue? That's gonna be the next venture for Danie Blue,
Wow.
where I'm gonna basically pop up in random places and just have a ball and take y'all along with me for the journey.
You promise?
I promise.
Right.
And so, and last but not least, I am a life coach. So that's where I feel like I'll be the best fit with helping people in my community, collaborating with Sakina on quite a few projects, as well as Danielle, and looking forward to even doing more than that. But shoot, this plate is so full right now. We got so much on our plates and so much stuff to do, and I'm just excited to see how Dope Chicks just, dominates this thing in the next year.
All right.
So, do we want to start with the clip for our topic?
No, well, I guess you can say what the topic is today. It's okay to say I'm not okay dealing with mental health during the stay-at-home quarantine and relationship challenges. Everything from married couples, single parents, empty nesters or whatnot. What I'll do is go quickly into the timeline of how we are where we are today. This is the coronavirus. So it's the national pandemic, and the coronavirus was declared a public health emergency by the World Health Organization, WHO, on January the 31st. This outbreak has sickened more than 14.7 million people, and at least 610,200 real people have died. And that's according to the New York Times as of a few days ago. On March 15th, the CDC recommended no gathering of 50 or more people in the U.S., which shut down many businesses, schools, and travel restrictions was put into place. So basically, life as we knew it definitely changed dramatically. We converted to remote learning for our children. So a lot of us are homeschooling our kids. Some of us are working from home. I'm doing that right now. Some people have their hours drastically reduced, and some people have just been laid off. About 25 million Americans are out of work. That breaks down to 1 out of 6 people are unemployed. Some people are facing evictions. Now the stimulus benefits have stopped, so more people are facing crisis within their households. And if you become sick, you're not allowed to be visited in the hospital. So some people are opting out of even going to the hospital. And they're showing severe symptoms and fear of isolation and dying alone. Also, because of this pandemic, we cannot visit loved ones in nursing homes or prisons. Most public places closed in the beginning, with the exception of essential needs items. A lot of our hairs was jacked up for a while. We couldn't get no toilet paper. And it's still hard to get some hand sanitizer and Lysol wipes. Like, what is going on?
No, Dawn. Did somebody find the Dawn?
I did get some Lysol wipes the other day, but I can only get one at a time. People got restless. Business owners demanded that their business be reopened. Our very infantile president demanded states open despite the virus rapidly spreading throughout the country. And we went many months without a uniform plan to eradicate this deadly virus. The U.S. even pulled out of the WHO, World Health Organization, abandoning a uniform response to this pandemic. So states opened up without meeting the guidelines to reopen by the CDC. And but more importantly, I think what was the straw that broke the camel back is when many of us were stuck in the house and we watched helplessly as a gang of vigilante white men gunned down Ahmaud Arbery like a dog. Shortly after that, we heard about the horrific murder of Breonna Taylor, a frontline hero, an African-American EMT who was shot multiple times in her own home by police after a no-knock warrant was issued on the wrong house. And before we could even wipe our tears of the 2 lives tragically lost, we watched in agony George Floyd, rightfully distinguished as a disgusting, heartless cop, sat on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And it was at that point the country flared in a very righteous rage against racial injustice and police abuse and excessive and deadly force. And I think we got a clip to kind of summarize that.
Ooh, that was heavy. That's heavy because there's the video.
Officer Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, including 2 minutes and 53 seconds after Floyd had become unresponsive. Fired officer's work was at the center of the anger. I can't breathe! I can't breathe! After police abandoned the building, protesters set it on fire. The city warned people to retreat in case it exploded.
So you can imagine everyone in this country is feeling some sort of mental health issues, from depression, anxiety. It's been a lot. It's been a lot on people. And even the First Lady, Michelle Obama, admitted in her own podcast of suffering from low-grade depression because of COVID-19, racial strife, and the Trump administration. And you can play that clip, Nathan. But while he's getting that together, what are your thoughts about that?
Do you want to take that one, Sakina?
It's overwhelming for me. I mean, it's anger, it's hopelessness because you don't know what to do about it. You want to do something. You want to retaliate. You want to protect your own loved ones from all of those, racial and social issues. And then for all of that to happen in the middle of a pandemic where our lives have been completely changed and we have no idea when or if it's going to ever go back to normal. That's a lot. It's heavy. It's a lot to deal with. Like, I don't know how anybody could, we get desensitized. We see these things so often that you don't even feel it. You don't even get emotion about it. You don't even cry. You don't know what to, it's like a defense mechanism your body does, I guess, to maybe protect yourself. I don't know. But it's heavy. You need to sit down and talk to somebody, which I do. So,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had a more up close and personal experience because your son was involved with the protesting and was arrested as a result of his activism down there. And then his treatment that he got down there completely destroyed him, who, we've already discussed on air before, that already suffers from a level of mental health illness anyway. So, being a young Black man in Cincinnati, dealing with the stuff that we deal with already, and then to receive the treatment that you receive, being the intelligent young man that he is, being the caring young man that he is, he did not deserve any of that treatment. Neither did any of those, what was it, like 300 people that was arrested that day?
It was a lot. It was a lot of them. And it was him and my nephews and a friend of theirs. So it was a bunch of them. But I mean, to know that I totally support him being an activist. And I understand that a part of being an activist is sometimes you're going to come in contact with law enforcement, which unfortunately for him, that arrest with the protest was the first time he had ever been in handcuffs in his life. He's 22 years old. He had never had any contact with the law. He's never been arrested. He's never been in jail. None of that. And they spent the night outside for, over 12 hours. They literally slept outside overnight, 40 degrees. People was outside, no bathroom, handcuffed for a curfew violation. They didn't do anything to anybody. He ain't, wasn't no assault. He didn't, a curfew violation. And he was outside in Cincinnati, outside the Justice Center, not in, outside, in the cold. No blankets, no nothing. They said they had them kneeling on their knees for most of the time. They couldn't even sit on their, bottoms. They were kneeling on concrete in the cold overnight. No blankets, no water, no bathroom, nothing.
I heard about that.
So it was really deep. And then another thing that is difficult for me to deal with in dealing with the pandemic and the racial issues going at the same time is we have a whole section of society who acts like this stuff doesn't even exist. Like you making it up. Like, oh, well, if you just comply, you won't die. So non-compliance equals death. That's a whole nother thing that's really difficult to deal with. Like, oh, you're just exaggerating. That's really a tough one for me.
Yeah, when it's not someone else's reality, they have a hard time wrapping their head around, I guess, so to speak, that it is a reality, which is just mind blowing in itself. It's like, is that a level of mental health, issues? Because you refuse to understand that just because you don't go through it doesn't mean that it isn't real. Like, you know what I mean? It just makes you think, like, okay, even before I became aware or woke or conscious or whatever you want to call it, you had to know that people had different experiences than you. Right. You had to know that things existed that weren't necessarily fair, because that's just the way that the United States history, that's just what it is. I mean, if you look at slavery, who did that affect? We had all of these things.
They don't know.
But here's the thing. They teach us that history if they don't teach us any other history. So how do you not know?
It's a whitewash history to begin with. And that's how white supremacy works. So, there is no acknowledgement, even those that don't really understand, because some people think white supremacy and think like an elevated status and white people can just be as poor and messed up as us. And they don't understand. They don't have that connection. But it's not so much, whether your status is one way or the other. It's, do you benefit from your skin tone? Do you have to worry about your son being accosted by the police, detained and possibly abused, maybe even killed? Do you have that type of concern? No, because you don't have the same traumas as African Americans. It's hard to see that. But I think what that George Floyd video did was opened everybody's eyes. And it was during a time where we were all inside. You couldn't change the channel. It was everywhere. And it was in a constant loop. And it was horrific because you saw that man's life being distinguished. He gave you the blow by blow of what his body was doing. And it was hard to watch. Even that President 45 had to do it like that was bad. Usually he has nothing good to say, but he said that was bad. And so this is a reality in our community. And to feel like we're already going through a national pandemic, which is hard. People are
Officer Derek.
Mysterious. But to couple that with the fact that we are still out here dying at the hands of police that we pay with our taxpayer dollars, it's like we can't get a break. That right there, for my heart, it's just like you can't breathe. And I don't want to say that, but it's just like a type of panic and stress and just outrage. I mean, we're not done because we still have a whole trial to get through and hope that this family get justice. But we're diving into a different direction. I want to bring us back to mental health, but this is good because that's part of it. That's what we're seeing, and that's what's troubling a lot of people in their households. The data shows that Americans are the unhappiest they have been in 50 years and exhibiting historically low levels of national pride, which usually this year would be when we're doing the Olympics, which generally gets people really feeling, pride in their country. But according to the COVID response tracker studies conducted late May by the NRC and University of Chicago, that was their stats. It also says that the Census Bureau data in May found a third of Americans are showing signs of clinical anxiety or depression during COVID-19 pandemic. And so what I want to know from you ladies, how have you been dealing with the quarantine and are you okay?
Oh, you want me to go first on this one?
Anybody want to chime in?
I mean, I can be very transparent in this one. So as a lot of people know, I'm single. All my kids are pretty much gone. I'm an empty nester. I was fortunate enough when this whole thing started that my youngest daughter was still, well, she had came to stay with me temporarily, right? And then she suddenly left, like without any notice. And that devastated me. I really was like, okay, I don't have a companion. I don't have, anyone to take care of, nurture. I'm here in this place by myself. And I mean, I think it was like 3 weeks that I didn't work. And, just starting the day out, like, okay, what do I do? How do I keep my mind occupied? And then also dealing with my past demons of, suicide ideation, depression, anxiety, all those things. They start to play with you, when you sit in 4 walls, too long by yourself. You start to, think about things in different perspectives. Like, what if this doesn't change? What am I going to do after this? Or am I going to be alone forever? I had a lot of crying spells. I went into depression several times since, the whole pandemic started. Sakina and I had a real heart-to-heart. I remember probably a month into it, and she had to basically tell me, no, girl, we're not doing that, like, snap out of it. And a lot of people will tell you, like, that's probably not the words that I probably wanted to hear, but that I needed to hear, because I am at a stage where I can manage my own depression, where I can manage my own suicide ideation, whereas someone who's newer to this, that would have been in one ear and out the other. But I'm like a veteran in this, so to speak. So I know me. I know how to kind of like get through it, so to speak, because you don't get over it, you get through it. And I went to my passion for writing. I went to my passion for being creative, and I went to my passion for business planning, and that's how I got through it. Like, the concepts that I came up for business plans, the poetry that I've written, the design concepts that I've come up with have been amazing in this time, because I was able to shift that negative energy into something positive. But it's only because I had positive people around me consistently telling me, hey, you're going to be okay. Even though I can't hug y'all, I know I can pick up the phone and call y'all, and that we're all, and that's something too. Like, I'm a hugger, right?
Yeah. So
this whole thing for me has been hard because I love to hug. So the first thing I want to do when I see y'all is I'm going to hug y'all. But, in this whole pandemic, we can't do that shit. So it's like, damn, I need that, because it's like you kind of transferring energy when you're hugging a person, especially when it's one of those good hugs, you know what I mean? That, it's like went from deep in, you know what I mean? And I just miss that element of life where I can just connect with people with a hug. You don't have to say anything, just hug me. And until it's time, your spirit tells you to release. I miss that.
So, what about you, ladies? How have you been dealing with this pandemic, quarantine, and are you okay?
For myself,
which one of us? Me?
I think Monique is. Go ahead, Monique.
For myself, I'm fortunate that I'm not at home by myself. I have a house full of kids, and my husband, who, has, since he works for himself, he's still been able to work and everything. And I'm already at home, so kind of the quarantine did not affect me in a way of like physicality. Like, I have to stay home. My kids do school from home already. I found a way to be more active in my home, but I do deal with anxiety, and what it did to me, I didn't slide into a depression phase, but I did feel more withdrawn, even from the people in my house, because you're in this mode where it's killing people. It's a real thing. And then you have conversations with people that in the very beginning did not feel like this was a big deal. You know, oh, it's just the flu. Okay, it's just the flu.
Yeah.
All right. So I tried to reconcile that. And as we watch the news, I'm a news watcher, so that started to consume my being. Like every type piece of media that was coming into me, any type of really communication that I was having with adults was CNN. It was unfortunately Fox News and a couple other outlets that I like to watch. And that started to play in my mind like, okay, well, Monique, how do you keep your house together? How do you keep your 2 children with asthma from getting this? Don't let nobody in. And that's not a good way to be. Even with my husband, with him still going out, and I'm quite sure he was being safe, socially distancing and everything, I'm giving him the rundown when he comes home. Hey, wash your hands. Don't hug your dad till he gets in. So it's making my kids feel anxious and giving space with him. It just got to be a real big thing. I did not realize that it played with me in such a way that I was having panic attacks at least once a week, if not twice a week. I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I can't breathe. And we're watching the news during this social unrest, all of it. I'm thinking about my son, my husband, and my kids, and mad at people that really don't think this is like real on all spectrums. And I'm watching the count of deaths, and is it old people, is it young people? My mind was just going everywhere. And I'm the type of person that I internalize a lot of things. I'm not the one that I'm talking. I'm not going to call and text and do anything like that. I may just have like, hey, what's up? I'm not going to let you know, yo, my mind is going crazy right now. So I really was struggling. And once your mind takes over sometimes, when it's just calamity, you cannot move forward in any aspect of anything else. So my productivity, my sleeping, I gained some weight, y'all. I'm so sad about it. It just was a hot mess. So I know that this thing is it's affecting people in such a way that all we can do is just love on each other, you know, however is best, and just making sure we're checking on one another. Like, we really have to make a concerted effort to check on our brothers and sisters and make sure that they're okay, and let it be okay for us not to be okay, and reach out, because it's hard, especially for us as women of color. We're not supposed to be weak. We're supposed to be able to withstand everything for everybody. So it's okay to just say, yo, I'm not okay today. You'll come right on time, Danie.
That's what we're trying to drive out. It's okay to say you're not okay.
Right.
Sakina, how are you, and how have you been handling?
I'm much better now. Initially, it was rough. Like, you know, the first couple weeks, you're like, okay, it's gonna be okay. We'll get through this. And then the longer it went on, it got harder to deal with. You take for granted how many things you do outside of your house that's self-care. A lot of men would joke like, you know, how y'all women doing? Now your hair ain't done, your nails ain't done. And it's like, that's not funny. Like, that's self-care. I want my hair done. My nails are a huge part of my self-care. That's not vanity. That's the only thing I do for myself that nobody else benefits from. I need that. And then my children, like, are just our regular lives. We like going to the show. We love going out to eat. We love going to, you know, run, jump, and play or whatever. We couldn't do any of that. There was nothing to do with them. And after a certain time of being in the house, it was just like, Then they start getting on each other's nerves. Now they're irritating each other. Now they're, you know, then I have a teenager with a super active calendar and a super active social life. And I see her spiraling because she can't leave the house. She can't go nowhere. She can't get away from us. She can't see her friends. So as a whole, the house started to like be affected. Like I think that all of our mental health was like, we was like spiraling for a minute. It was bad. So we needed to get away. So it was just like, hey, we don't have to. So I sent the girls to their cousins, and I let Imani go see one of her friends. Like we all needed to go be around other people. It's just not in our nature to not be interactive with other humans. Like Danie was saying, to not be able to hug someone. We need physical touch. I need physical touch. Let me speak for myself. I need physical touch. When I see somebody I haven't seen in a long time, I want to hug them. I want to give them a kiss. I want to show love. I need that. That's a part of my mental health, you know. And I thank God that I was already in therapy. I've been in therapy since December. And I go every single week unless something really extenuating happens and I have to miss it. But I try not to miss a week. So I thank God that I was in therapy and able to go and sit and talk to my therapist and work through these things that I was feeling. Times where I just wanted to be away from everybody, where I didn't want nobody to talk to me. I didn't want to see one more person in this house and be able to say that, because I didn't want to see I didn't want to see nobody. I didn't want nobody to talk to me. I was like, this is the fourth quarter. I hope y'all doing your work. I'm not a teacher. I didn't want to teach. I was over all of it. Like, seriously. And then, so, you know, being able to come out of that, being able to talk to everybody and kind of see what everybody needs, to get away from each other, to get some peace and quiet. Imani went over her stepsister's house and stayed over there for like 5 days just to get away from the people in the house. We needed to be away from, we need that space, you know? So it was difficult, but right now I think we on the upswing. Things are better. She started marching band. I started going back to the things I had going on with my businesses and stuff like that. So life was able to go to some semblance of normalcy, but it was rough. I mean, it's still rough. We're still not 100% back, and we still don't know, is this our new normal? That's anxiety producing in and of itself. The fact that this could possibly be our new normal.
Right.
So I got to wear a mask everywhere forever.
Yeah, and that was my thing. I was just thinking the other day, I was like, is it going to be the thing where we literally have to wear a mask like all the time? And then another thing is, you know, all three of my daughters are expecting children. So that's a whole nother thing too. They're not allowed to have anyone go in with them at their doctor's appointments. And if you aren't present when they go into labor, you cannot be there. Like during the delivery of the baby. So that's a whole nother level. Are you going to give birth by yourself? Who wants to be in a position where they're alone, you know, giving birth to a child? Because that's the closest you come to death, you know, while you're alive, is giving birth. And, you know, that's a scary thing, especially when it's your first. You know, my younger two daughters, this is their first, you know, this is their first child. So that's a whole nother, you know, level of anxiety, you know, that I have for them, because one, they can't get sick. You know, they really like legit can't get sick while they're pregnant, especially not my daughter that has type 1 diabetes. You know, she already has several health issues and concerns. And, you know, the last thing we need to worry about with her is COVID. So, you know, she's high risk and all of these other things. So I couldn't even imagine having a baby during this pandemic. I see all of these little ones being born during this time. And I just can't imagine how these mothers that are having to deliver these babies without their dads being present, or even grandmothers and grandfathers being present, because you are limited to how many people you can have in a room at once. You know, it's just, it just drastically changes what we consider normal. You know what I'm saying? I live down here. We have amenities that I can't even enjoy. I can't even go out on my terrace and barbecue because I'm afraid that my neighbors are going to come out and try to join me. Like, you know, that's the weird, you know, it's like once upon a time that didn't matter. It's like, oh, okay, you can have a burger, you can have a beer or whatever. But now you like, I don't know where the hell you been, so I don't want you around me, you know? And I can remember when outdoors first opened after all of, you know, being shut down. How long were we shut down? Like maybe 6 weeks or something like that? Like completely.
Not long enough, clearly.
Well, apparently not. But no, you know, I went downstairs to Condado's just to get food, like I had been doing for the past, you know, 4 or 5 weeks. And I seen those people on top of each other stacked like roaches. And I like had an anxiety attack, and I ran upstairs and got in my bed. Like I had to go to sleep because it was just too much for me to take in. I'm like, y'all don't have on masks, y'all on top of each other, aren't y'all scared? Like, and I'm not even a fearful person like that. So for me to have an anxiety attack just based off of seeing something that simple, like I can only imagine what this is really doing to us psychologically.
Yeah, I have to say, during this quarantine, I've tried to make the best of it and do things. I saw way ahead before the mandate on face masks that this was going to be a need. And we know that, age-old adage, if there's a need, fill it. And definitely when the stats was coming out about African Americans and Native Americans, Hispanics being the most impacted by the pandemic, then I seen like, we have to help our communities. So just taking the initiative to try to learn how to make a face mask, like I had no prior sewing skills, but I went to YouTube University and figured that out. And it's been, going just fine ever since. And I'm able to help people, and it really growed into something I wasn't even expecting. It's a little side, hustle on the side just in case anything do happen, because you never know. Beyond all of that, I have to say I just had to take it one day at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time. I'm still involved in the activism of, people in our community. I just finished in honor of John Crawford III rally up at Beaver Creek Walmart, and that was a lot. Left there thinking I would feel drained from sorrow and hurt and the injustice, but it really just gave me the energy I need to keep pushing forward and what we need to do and how we need to focus. Because when you have a group of people, when you have protesters out there, it's all good to march and everything else, but you have to have a plan of action. You have to take this moment and make it into a movement and turn it into policy. And like what Nathan said, equity, policy, and tangibles. That's all necessary in the end, or this is all for nothing. And I don't got time to waste. And I got a son that a few years look at him like George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery. I got 2 daughters. One is a concealed carry on, but this is an open carry state, and her being black with guns should not automatically be seen as a threat. We have Second Amendment rights as well. So for me, it's just one day at a time. I wake up sometimes and I'm crying. I don't know why. It could be the slightest thing on my news feed. Really breaks my heart, but I try to bring it all together for my family. But I try to give myself forgiveness because and I'm not perfect. And some days I just need time for me. So I may not answer the phone. I may not be able to be on top of every email. Sometimes I just can't because it's overwhelming. But I'll come back and I'll reach out. For me, I guess I just kind of internalize more than be seeking for help, and maybe I should be doing the opposite. But for right now, sometimes I just gotta step back and think. Just need time to think. So,
you know what's scary? Your mom having emergency surgery in the middle of a pandemic.
Right. Yeah.
I ain't never felt fear like that. My mother I went to the ER with my mother thinking she had food poisoning. And at 4 a.m., they're like, we going to surgery at 5 a.m. So the way it works is you can only have 1 visitor per person per day. And once I leave that hospital, I can't come back in. So we ain't had no sleep. We've been here all night. And she had to go to surgery at 5 in the morning. So not only am I worried about me being in a place full of sick people that Corona is definitely 100% here, I have to worry about me leaving to go take care of my kids, my business, or whatever, coming back to stay with her and me bringing illness into her. That's some scary stuff. I want to leave the hospital, come home. And I don't know if y'all do bring in healthcare. Like the safety showers, where you put a thing, the showers just come. I literally wanted one of those in my mud room. Like, just come in and just hose me down or something. It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. Like, I come in the room and I'm keeping my mask on. I'm staying away from her, but she's hooked up to everything, and I want to go help her, but I'm scared. Like, I come in, of course, to wash my hands, but I want to go help her, and I'm like, I don't. What if it's on me? What if it's on? Because we don't know, you know. She can't get sick. She had major surgery. You know what I mean? She cannot get sick. She cannot get this. She can't get an infection. She can't get this virus. No. She's up there. They had her on oxygen. She got an NG tube on her. She cannot.
Right.
That was terrifying. And then I found out that something else that I didn't really think will bother me as much that it does is not being able to have in-person meetings. I appreciate us being able to do things like this, but I think for my personality, I shine better in person. It's very easy to check out through a virtual meeting. I just be like, okay. In person, I'm like, yo, hey, hi, we're here, let's go. My personality needs, I feed off that energy. And so having an issue with my clients and Hamilton County isn't having in-person meetings, and who knows when they will again, and having to do all of this stuff through email and not being able to, like, I'm going to call a meeting person in a minute, baby. I will CC the whole world. Let's call a meeting. Let's talk about it right here. Here's the paperwork. I couldn't do it. So I'm like, you know, things get misconstrued through email, and I'm just like, this is that was really difficult. It still is really difficult for me not being able to have a face-to-face meeting.
I felt,
Go ahead, Shannon.
I feel a little bit like you did, Sakina. So like, I'm gonna bring it around, but like with the not having in-person meetings. So I'm an introvert, but I do have an appreciation for meeting face-to-face with my clients, because this is where we learn how we're going to deal with one another. This is where we build our rapport. This is where, you know, I can make a facial expression and you relate it to my mannerisms and how I'm delivering information to you, as opposed to on the phone or when we first show up at a house or something. But I will say that initially I was opposed to the Zoom meetings because of those reasons. But because I'm introverted, I didn't realize that I actually had missed being around people so much. And the first time that some of my friends were like, hey, we about to do this Zoom happy hour, I was like, Zoom happy hour? So I'm going to be happy in my house, but we going to do it on the screen? So on one hand, introverted me was like, okay, I ain't got to go nowhere. But the other me was like, seriously? But I will tell you, like, for me, it was very beneficial because, again, I didn't realize how much I had missed other human interaction, because we are humans, and regardless of whether or not we acknowledge it or participate in it, moving about through the world, you encounter people in different capacities. Our brains observe things that we don't actually know, because our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our ears, those are all receptor sites for the brain. So when our brains take in all this stimuli, it processes it and does something with it. You might think about it later. That's like, you know, you could see a person and not see them, right? Yeah. You might be in Target and like you walk past a guy and somebody says, anybody see the guy in the blue shirt? You might be like, nah, I ain't see no guy in no blue shirt. But let him say it was a robbery and he stole your purse. Oh, the blue shirt with the gray pants and the black shoes with the orange laces? Yeah, I seen him. You know, and where do you go for that? You go to your brain. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't realize like how much I would miss it, or how important it was, because it is important. We're humans. That's what we're supposed to do. We just have a choice on how we go about doing it, you know?
Pause. Can I interrupt real quick? Can I shout out Shannon?
Absolutely.
Can I shout out Shannon? Because I don't think I posted this on Facebook, Shannon, what you did for us. I don't think I said it on Facebook. It was really personal. So when my mother had surgery, Shannon made this big, I took a picture of it. I'm gonna show y'all the picture later on. But Shannon made this big basket, like full of just the most thoughtful things you can think of that a person would need in the hospital. I mean, I can't even tell you all of the stuff that was in there. But my mom was like going through like, oh, what's this? She got her a card, and it was like a blanket, and it was like, well, you know, she can only have liquids, so she got some liquid stuff. And I mean, it was just like snacks that you could eat in the hospital. So I went up to leave the room, like super thoughtful. Me and my mom was both in tears. So as one dope chick to another. I really appreciate you. I haven't said it publicly because it was really,
It's
it was
okay.
really,
You
really
said it
like
personally. That's good enough for me.
personal. It was very, very personal to me. So I did not share it publicly. I'm about to cry. But I did just want to say thank you because the group doesn't know that you did that, but that's the kind of person that she is. She was like, what do you need? Literally, it was probably the middle of the night, Shannon. She was literally like, what do you need? Where are you? Do you want me to come now? I'm going to bring you something. And I was like, no, it's okay. You don't have to.
I know.
Like,
and Sakina was like, I was really ready to choke Sakina because I'm like, listen, I know you do the stuff and you got it and you mom and you working and you got businesses and all these things, but where you at? I ain't got to talk to you. We ain't got to have no meeting about it. Where you at so I can get you this stuff that I feel like you might need or might be comforting for you and your mama.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to drop it off. Sakina's like, well, I'm going to the place and I got to go over here. And Sakina, where can I drop this to you? Because you gonna get it.
Literally.
Now,
Literally.
make me turn into Soul by Shannon and stalk your behind. And
No,
go
she
look
was
you
like, pull up. I was like, okay.
That's so wonderful.
It was huge, like a huge basket. Beautiful. So thank you. That helped us. That helped me during this pandemic, and me and my mom's mental health on that end. I'm gonna be honest with you, it did. That was some big heart.
I'm glad. Thank you.
I think, Danie, you can even speak to, the importance of just checking in, and just the thoughtfulness of that story and how important that was to Sakina and helpful that was.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Shannon for that dope move because I was dealing with my own foolishness over here that I neglected to do anything. So I appreciate, my sister stepping in and taking care of my other sister when I was completely like in another world. I can solely appreciate this. So for sure, Shannon, like real shit.
I mean, I just feel like, for me, it's like and I wasn't necessarily raised that way. It hasn't always been this way, but like, I'm just at a point now where it's like, I try to lead with love, you know what I'm saying? And so I know that I'm just wired that way. God made me a thoughtful person. And sometimes I have to be wary of that, but it's just like so many times people are afraid to just do what they think they should, and this goes back to, what you were saying, TNT, and, the activism and all of those things. It's like sometimes people are just afraid to do what they think they should because they're worried about the reaction or how it's going to be received. And it's like, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, I could have given that basket to Sakina and she was like, we don't use none of this stuff. That's fine, girl. Leave it in the lobby. Somebody like it.
Empty.
But you're going to use the basket. You know what I mean?
I
So it's just like, you never know what a person needs. And it could be the smallest thing, the slightest of thing. It could be just a compliment to a girl whose hair you like in the grocery store. And, she could have been having the worst day ever, but just something as simple as a kind word, which is love, could make her whole day or change how she goes through the rest of that day, and she, again, lighten that candle. Now that her spirits are lifted, she might, do the same for somebody else or, do something that she wasn't prepared to do that day because now she either feels empowered to do so, happier, or just in a generally better mood,
You know what it did for me? What it did for me, and Danie, you gave me 2 gifts too. I need to shout you. Danie gave me 2 super thoughtful gifts because, Danie is the wine connoisseur. She came over with this automatic wine order thing that looked like it came from, I don't even know. What's one? Bad from Giannis? I don't know. And then these beautiful wine glasses, but it let me know what it feels like to get something in a different love language. My love language is words of affirmation. I'm not big on gifts. I've never been big on gifts. I'm a horrible gift giver. But thoughtful gifts mean a lot. And that was a whole nother thing for me. Like, oh my God, this was so, and then teaching you how to receive. I'm such a giver that I think I don't even know how to receive half the time. So like just teaching me how to just be like, you know what? Thank you for thinking of me and doing something so thoughtful, which it might seem like something small, but it was big to me. So thank you for that, ladies.
Oh, you are so welcome. And that's funny because I got like 40 bottles of wine over here. Due to pandemic, I've been signing up for everybody's wine club. But I do have a bottle of wine for you, Shannon.
Came back like,
So you just tell me white or red, and it's yours. Yes, but
well, let's get back on it. So, because we're running out of time, we're going to have to cut the answers down to like a minute, but some other things. Let me pose this to the couples in here. What would you suggest couples do to stay sane and in love?
X me out.
Stay sane and stay in love. What's some good advice?
I don't know that life, so y'all go ahead.
Well, some married couples up in here. Give us some advice, married couples.
Go ahead, Monique. You the only one.
Okay, well, I know just like I told y'all, my husband's still been working and he's been out in the world, as I say. And he's actually had to like travel. And so I know that with his business picking up, during this time, he's been having to spend longer times away from home. So we really utilize the whole FaceTime thing and just trying to touch base with each other. Even if I'm up here and he's down in his office, I might send him a quick little stupid text or something like that. I feel like it's just, even as the CDC is telling us how we supposed to, do the deed safely and all of this, and you feel kind of weird kissing and just being as you normally would, it's ways that we've had to kind of think about our intimacy in a different way. So, sometimes when you can't be physical, you gotta, we women, you can kind of get in that ear a little bit. And, he'll say some things and I'm like, oh, that's what's up. I like that. I'm feeling that. All right. So, just trying to be creative and trying to still be engaged, even if you're physically apart. Or even if, you're trying to, I have to let him have some time every time he comes in from out of town. He had to like kind of quarantine in the house for 14 days just to make sure he was good because he'd been on planes and whatnot. So we just had to be a little bit more, I want to say purposeful in our connections. And sometimes it gets hard because, when I know I got stuff going on, but then I got to kind of check in with him and see where his headspace is. And a lot of men, we talking about us women not really reaching out and saying something. These men out here is really acting like, they're really good and they are afraid too. I know it's real when my husband is like, I didn't go here because he's the opposite of me. I'm like Shannon, I'm an introvert. But my husband is charismatic and very extrovert, and he'll go play pool or he'll go have a drink with friends. And when I know that he's at home and his whole social thing is the Xbox, I do it. Go ahead, do what you got to do, babe. I might just send you a picture while you playing Xbox with your friends. So come on upstairs soon, okay?
Anybody else? Suggestions for couples? How do you stay sane?
I couldn't be married and have to quarantine from my husband. Like, that wouldn't be my life. I'd be COVID.
Danie. I can't.
Power to you, sis, because I don't know how you do that.
My situationship couldn't survive COVID, so I know. I know.
Hey,
I don't think I have what it takes.
I'm going to pass on this one. So,
right.
If nothing else, I guess we move on.
Let's move on.
What can people do to find relief during a time where they are completely overwhelmed? I know we got some good stuff there. What can be?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
What can people do to find relief during a time where we are completely overwhelmed? Where do we find our relief?
Delegation.
Mm-hmm.
That's been huge for me.
Not have to do it all.
Yeah, right. And Sakina, that's huge for me, as you know, right now in the game, being the CEO, executive director of this, I've had to trust you guys a lot to do a lot of things. And I just want to say on air, I appreciate everything that you guys do, because there's no way that I would be able to carry the burden of everything that we have going on by myself. in this time for sure. You know, I know I wear many hats and many capes, but you know, you guys have been essential and instrumental in more ways than you will ever know. And thank you.
Oh, we love you, and we got your back, sis. It's nothing.
For sure.
Oh,
For sure.
y'all do.
I want to read some comments because people are leaving comments on here. So, Julie Harris, she said, "Married couples pray," and we got a shout out from Regina Carswell Russo from Right Now Production. Says, "Thank you, ladies. Keep telling your story. We need to have real talk. We are not alone. Women and women of color need to tell our stories with each other. It really helps. It's necessary. Keep shining."
Yeah.
That's what she used to be on Channel 19.
She used to be on Channel 19. Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah. She has her own communication right now, communications. So thanks for tuning in.
Every time on the TV.
Definitely appreciate it.
You talk about a little bit of kindness. That I seen that coming. That really lifts my spirits to have that kind, thoughtful words coming from her. And then a lot of people here just saying hey and appreciate the conversation. So let me get in a few more questions because we almost out of time. Okay,
Right,
so
it went by so fast.
I know. Well, what advice can we give to parents who may lack the patience or skills to teach their child and need to adapt to this new remote learning style? Got any advice for parents that lack patience? Me.
What I do with my kids, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I am not a teacher. Okay, that's not my ministry. But I do have 3 girls who Imani's about to be a senior, Zion's going to the 6th grade, Zane is going to 4th grade. So what we did for 4th quarter was, you guys gonna help each other. Imani, you know everything that both of them know. Zion, you just did her stuff 2 years ago, so you guys are gonna help each other and work together. You're sisters, you know, and then teaching these kids how to research things, how to go find the answers. I tell my kids all the time, you have a computer in your hand right here, all day, every day. Y'all got 3 iPads, 2 Chromebooks, a desktop computer, and everybody has a cell phone. There is no reason on earth you can't go find the information that you need. We had to do a decimal system and 10-year-old encyclopedias. We found the information. You can ask Siri for information. I'm just saying, it's a lot you can do to find the information. And, you know, also reach out to parents. Like, some people might be really good at math.
Yeah.
I have my niece that lives with me is an English major. You know, talk to people. Sometimes I think we're too afraid to ask for help. You ain't got no been out of school 23 years. I don't remember nothing from the 5th grade. Nothing. I have no clue where the adverb goes. I don't know. I have no idea. But I got an English major downstairs, and she knows. So guess what I'm gonna do? Can you come help her? Because I yeah, this ain't my jam. That's what I do. That's me.
Yeah, I can piggyback off of that. Definitely use your resources that you have going in your circles for sure. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. You're only one person. So what I will also add to that is have patience. Remember that you were that age at one time. It's okay for them to be frustrated in all of this and be afraid as well. So, you know, just take that into consideration as well, because we've never experienced a pandemic. So imagine being a child, you know, experiencing this, not having to wear a mask, and then all of a sudden having to wear a mask. You know, they're scared they're gonna die. So let's you know, take that into consideration. Let's be emotionally aware of where our kids are. And, you know, I can only say this from like a psychology standpoint, because, you know, I look at things different than how I raised my kids versus, you know, now post degree. You know, I wish I would have known some things back then that I know now. And just, you know, be open to advice from other parents. We don't always know the answers, and that's okay. You know, we don't have to be perfect parents, but we do need to be like constantly aware of what our kids are going through and experiencing, and just try to make that experience for them the best one that they could possibly have. And let's reduce their trauma.
What about you, Monique?
I think the best advice I think I can give parents as an educator is definitely, I just saw someone put it in a comment, definitely having a routine. It's important to have, it doesn't have to be just stifling to the minute, but just make sure that your kids and yourself establish a routine. And remember, not all learning is the book or, these online classrooms. We can teach our children practical things, and that does help build those things that you can't necessarily learn in a classroom but are still just as tangible, just building self-confidence and all of those things through just helping around the house. Let's get out of the house and get into nature, and realize you got to be a little bit more in tune. It's all about perspective. When you see that your kid is frustrated, try and model the behavior that you're wanting them to have, how you would handle adversity. This is a trying time that none of us have ever been through. So we have to be a lot to our kids, not just the teachers for some right now. It's about now we really have to help them be able to handle not being able to see a teacher face to face, not being able to, pick with your friend sitting next to you. We're at home. So try and create an environment that's still kind of fun. I'm working in my office, which is kind of like our classroom this is our second school year. You can see I got maps on the wall that talk and all kinds of other little things and materials. Just have some things that kind of can break away from this screen and give them something that is more kinetic, they can touch, and then still you're going to have to be that friend and make sure at any time you can to safely try and schedule some of those social times. You may have to do like a little Zoom play date for your kids. If we up here doing happy hour where we want to sit and paint our toes and drink wine with our girlfriends on Zoom, let's do a Zoom play date for our kids. Think about it in a way that's not overwhelming for you, so that the kids can be excited and joyful about their new experience. We'll come out of this strong. It's just about perspective.
I love that. And you just taught me something because you're absolutely right. We need to model the behavior we want them to have. So if I'm frustrated and I wear it, I show it, they're going to act the same way. And so I have to do better. No matter what I'm feeling at that moment, not to exhibit that so much in front of them, and then they're unable to cope and
We're their first teacher.
The issue
From us.
Yeah. So that's really good advice, and I'm gonna have to practice that more. I'm gonna be more mindful of that. Thanks to you, sis. I also want to say, some of the advice I would give. I'll say what I'm doing in my household is one, trying to organize, because I think that's key, and declutter and get rid of things, because then it helps them understand the key to organization, because if they're more organized, if they have their work organized, they can study better, and that's key in life anyway, just having a more organized situation. I try to have little educational workbooks and things for them throughout the summer. I require them to read chapters in a book, but also I have them sit down, and they hate this. I make them watch a documentary with me. I need just 2 hours of your time. It's 2 hours of your time every day. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I'm able to get it in, and sometimes we miss each other. And I really hate those days where I felt like I didn't get that time in with my kids. But it happens. I'm not saying I do everything perfectly. That's furthest from the truth. My aspirations, what I try to do is these things. So when we are able to connect and we have these discussions, I talk to them about real life situations. When I see them not able to work together, one time I had them do a situation like, okay, because they couldn't decide on who cleaned this room, and that room. And I'm like, okay, you're the supervisor. These are all your employees. Everybody do what Jordan says. And if you complete these tasks in this amount of time, everybody get paid. You know what I mean? But just got to be creative and and that was like teamwork and skills and everything else. And then just what's going on, because they don't quite understand why they have to wear the face mask and why they can't have go over to certain people's house and always and I know it's hard. So I try to show them documentaries about past pandemics and what they had to do. So they can have a better understanding and really understand what we're going through right now. And then just what's going on as it relates to racial relations. My daughter is terrified. Again, at first, she was okay with the police and wanted to be a police officer. And now I see her sliding back to being afraid of police officers with everything going on. I still think she wants to be one. She wants to be the good guy. You know, she knows what she wants to do, but it's still, you know, the thought that if there's a police car, she used to clutch onto me. She would hide behind me. And that's not the way she should feel. And so just making her understand that not all police officers are bad, just a few, you know, but for the most part, and then also to teach them the rights. Literally a few days ago, I was just telling them, I'm showing them a movie like, if you get arrested and detained, you don't ask for nobody but your mama or a lawyer. You don't say nothing to nobody. And even at their age, you know, 10 and 14, they need to know, because currently your child can be arrested and detained and they do not have to contact you, and they can interrogate your child and get all types of information out of them, and they can cause their own demise in juvenile courts and admission into the adult system. So it's just what we need to teach our kids right away, and to be leaders, not followers. But I'm gonna cut it because I think we ran out of time. Let me ask you this one question. Everybody, if y'all can just give me a 30-second response. Are you afraid of catching COVID-19? Do you have a quarantine plan if you do?
I don't have a fear of it per se. I am asthmatic, so I do have concerns if I were to catch it. My background in nursing and medical, you know, kind of told me that you have certain exposures to certain things even in that field. So I guess my fear has been reduced. But I'm also not I don't have a fear of dying anymore either. So my fear is a little different than, say, someone else's. You know, we never know. I mean, you could die from something else in this whole pandemic thing. You know, I just say live each day as if it were your last anyway, and stop living in fear.
How about you, Sakina?
I think I already had it. So, afraid? No. Quarantine plan at our house, if somebody gets sick, you literally just band to your room. We will, like Color Purple, we gonna slide the food in there, and that's gonna be it. No, our plan actually, honestly, we have 7 tons of elderberry, fresh elderberry that I get from one of my Facebook friends, and we have tons of sea moss in our house. We have tons of tea. Like I'm one of those. I love natural remedies and things of that nature. So we are stocked up on elderberry. We keep that in our system constantly. So that's a part of our prevention plan more than worrying about catching it. We've been trying to beef up our immune systems over here. So that's been a big thing for me. But yeah, I'm one of those people that traveled out of the country in January, got sick, really, really sick when I came back before they were testing. And so, yeah. And, you know, everybody like to joke about that. Like, everybody had COVID in January. Oh, we did.
You should still get the test and see if you have the antibody test, because if that is the case, you know, what they're doing is collecting plasma. And your plasma, if you have the antibodies, you can help save the lives, especially people in the African-American community, which is predominantly us in the hospitals on a breathing machine, and it will not make it, but your antibodies can save them and help them get through it. So I would still check and see, and hopefully you still have those antibodies in your plasma and you can save some lives.
That's a good idea.
How about you, Monique?
I think I had it as well. I was fearful. Not now. I'm not, God does not give us a spirit of fear. So I have to remind myself that I am of sound mind, so I'm going to be okay. But I do think I had a touch of that, even just focus on more on my diet. And like Sakina said, building up these immune systems. My kids have gotten real good about eating some things they're not typically used to that are good to boost those immune systems, and even my husband as well. So just, I think mental peace and, being connected to whatever your energy source has been really helpful for me, because if your mental is out of whack, your physical cannot line up to heal anyhow. So I did have a nice time healing from that, and I feel like 100% now. But yeah, you can't be fearful. Fear does not do anything. Just being vigilant and being wise and doing what you need to do, not just for yourself, but thinking about our neighbors and everyone that's in our community by keeping them safe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say that I'm not so much fearful, but it concerns me, it worries me, because I do have people, that are in my household who are high risk. And I'm usually like the carer and nurturer. And one, for me, if I get sick, who's going to take care of me? Part of the reason why I let my job know way before they did the stay-at-home order, like, I need to be at home. I can work from home. I'm the only one that's responsible for my kids. You know what I mean? So, they need me. But at the same time, I feel like we have to educate ourselves. We're doing everything possible to prevent from catching it, but learning and knowing more, and then helping others understand and educate this more. It's going to take a uniform front and really a worldwide effort. I hate that we pulled out of the WHO, because everyone should be in a uniform standard. That way, this virus can actually be eradicated. Otherwise, it's going to continue to spread. It spreads too easily, and people are dying. And it's very serious. Let me ask real quick, what advice can we give listeners who may be suffering from depression and anxiety? Real quick, really quick.
Hold on, what was the question?
What advice can we give to listeners who may be suffering from depression and anxiety?
I would say get connected with nature. Get connected with your spirituality. Those things kind of keep you grounded. You know what I mean? Like when you connect with the world that we live in, and we, kind of take that time to take a step back from our chaos that we go through every day. Because a lot of times we create our situations that make us anxious and make us depressed, because we're on the go so much and we're trying to keep up with our chaos that we don't take the time to give our body and our mind and our spirit a chance to align with one another. And I think that's very important in order, to have balance in your life, so that you're not thrown out of whack, because that's basically what anxiety is just being thrown off of your rocker. I mean, I'm speaking for myself when I say these things. Like when I experience anxiety, it's usually because I don't have control over my situation, or something along those lines. So when I deal with those things, I tend to write. I go to my creative juices to try to express myself. Self-expression is very important with depression, because a lot of times you just don't feel heard. So, that's how I deal with that piece.
Hey, Danie, can you tell us some of the signs that you might have
for depression and anxiety? Mm-hmm. For depression, for the most part, if you don't have a desire to get out of the bed, you don't desire to shower, you don't desire to eat, you don't desire to interact with other people. If you just want to lay in the bed all day, that could be a sign. Sometimes it'll be not that drastic. Sometimes it might be something as simple as, you alienate yourself. You don't answer your phone. You don't want to attend like an event. I'm thinking about me. So when I speak to myself, I usually speak to the crowd, and vice versa. So yeah, those are things that you can look for as far as like depression. And in your kids, I would tell you this is a gem to look, because this is very important. If your children aren't eating and they normally eat a lot of food, like say, I notice some things with my own grandson sometimes. So if they don't eat things, or if they ask a lot of questions about death, or if they ask a lot of questions about you know, something that they're afraid of, or, you know, things like that. Just take that into consideration. Don't just blow it out, because I think a lot of times as parents, we don't want to have those conversations because we don't want to check our own realities. But these babies are asking questions because they deserve answers. They're asking questions because they're concerned. And the last thing you want to do is sweep that up under the rug. As far as anxiety is concerned, if you feel like, I guess the best way to put it is like nervous or uptight, or you feel like you're overwhelmed, or you can't keep up with something, or you feel like, you know, you go into a room and it's just like everybody's looking at you and really they're not really paying you any attention. You know, if those types of situations are happening to you, you're probably experiencing anxiety. But one thing I will like to say is we need to normalize these things too. They're okay to have these things. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be anxious. Those are normal responses to the world that we live in. However, it's not normal for that to be for an extended period of time. If it affects the way you live, if it affects the way you take care of yourself, those things aren't normal. It's okay to go talk to somebody. It's okay to say that you're not okay. And you know, that's the topic.
Anybody want to add to that?
Anxiety for me feels like a sense of impending doom. Like someone, like, okay, like think about when we was little and like Freddy Krueger and Jason is like chasing you. We like, oh my God, I gotta get away from them. It's like that. But all the monsters are coming, and they're all coming right now, and they're right behind you, and they're going to kill you. That's what anxiety feels like for me. It's like out of nowhere, like literally your heart is beating, your stomach is in knots, and you cannot control it. So what I will say is this: it looks different on different people. I'm, for the most part, in person, a pretty talkative person, and I'm like kind of, you know, y'all been around me. When I'm feeling anxiety, I don't say anything, and I literally would just sit there and breathe, because I'm really just trying to get my heartbeat together. I'm trying to get literally, I'll just sit there and you'll just see me going. Literally, I won't say a word. So it doesn't look like what people think it is. It's not always this big giant freak out where like, oh my God, I can't. That's not that. My anxiety never looks like that, ever. Yeah. For me, it's just literally trying to calm what's going on the inside down. And it's not an external thing. So that's my thing.
Definitely. And that's another thing. I'm glad that Sakina brought that up. It does look different for different people. Sometimes people, the most depressed people, look happy as hell. That's something I need for people to understand. Like, people didn't know that I battled depression for 29 years, you know, because every time you see me, you see a Kool-Aid smile, or you see me trying to help somebody, or you see me doing something. I'm sticking and moving, you know, I'm on the go. I'm depressed quite a bit of the time, you know, and a lot of people don't know that. I have a daily battle with depression. But, you know, I've accepted that as being my reality, you know, and once I accepted that as being my reality, instead of fighting it as much as I did, now I can find peace in it. And so that's why I said we got to stop putting a stigma on mental health stuff, because people are not going to get the help that they need if they fear that people are going to look at them differently.
That's why I talk about therapy so much on my page. I try to talk about it usually at least once a week when I go. Sometimes I don't, because I just be on the go and busy. But therapy is so important. Like I've been in there since December. August was 8 months. I don't see no end. Every week I'm like, I don't have nothing to talk about, and I get in there and I'm like, ah! Like, but you need that. Like, I need that outlet. You know what I mean? And then you need somebody to also call you on your bullshit too, because she'll be like, yo. Right. And I'm like, for real? You think that? She like, yeah. I'm like, oh. You know what I mean? So it's important. Go to therapy. We joke about it, or like we say it kind of like in a condescending kind of way, like I need to sit on somebody's couch. But you do. We all need to go sit on somebody's couch. Like
everybody, right? Sakina, everybody, even therapists need to go sit on a therapist's couch. Like that's real. Like that's just real.
That's what you can give yourself, is to go sit on somebody's couch. It's a gift. People don't have no idea what it is. Like, I'm talking to this stranger, but guess what you can do with this stranger? You don't have to hold back. Because, like, you talk to your friends and you're like, oh, they're going to judge me. You talk to your mom and you're like, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings or disrespect her. You ain't got to worry about nobody's feelings but yours. She don't know you. You can literally tell it all. And she's underprivileged, so she can't tell nobody.
Right. And I'm going to tell you something else. Here's another option. Because people fear the word therapist or psychiatrist, psychologist, you can go to a life coach. You can have a pour out session. And basically you're paying somebody to sit there and be an ear for you to pour out everything that's going wrong with you with no judgment, with a little bit of guidance if you require, if you request it. We're not there to give you anything that you don't want or that you feel like you don't need. You know what I mean? But we will be honest with you. We will be transparent with you. We will guide you through it. However, if the word therapist scares you, there are options for you. I just wanted to let people know that as well.
You got something?
I would like to add that definitely when you are feeling like those walls are closing in on you and you just feel unfamiliar in your body, I'm going to definitely impress upon you to be brave and reach out to someone on the phone. Maybe if a text is all you can do, then text. But I would ask you to just put your voice out to someone, because sometime in a text, they don't understand the context or the seriousness. When you can call someone and they can hear the urgency in your voice and let them be your ear or come to give you some comfort, because in these times when we are quarantining and we're by ourselves, especially those who live alone, it's important to be able to have some kind of comfort and just a kind voice. Some people just got a tone about them that they can instantly help calm you and give you some perspective. And also, since we are in those times when we can't touch, please don't forget to touch yourself. Just that pressure, the warmth of your own hand, it just does something, So just, I don't mean about
Monique, I'm sorry, Monique.
Danie,
some of us single.
If it helps you, sometimes that release helps you get all kinds of release. But we're going to be PG, okay? We're going to be PG. I always like to think about centering my energy. So I automatically go right here to this third eye, and I just try and hone that in, and I visualize my bubble and my colors. So if it will help you kind of just center in and focus in on those breaths, do what you need to do to kind of meditate and just hone yourself in at the same time when you're on the phone saying, hey, I need a little bit extra from you because my energy is not enough to sustain me. And also watch who you are letting use you for refuge, because there's a thing of energy suckers. You need to know when you have to be. It might not necessarily be bad to step away from social media and to get off the phone for a spell so that you can kind of recoup. People stocking up on toilet paper, you need to stock up on your energy because it has to sustain you. So just remember to guard your heart, and if your heart needs someone else, be okay to reach out to them. Don't ever think that you are out here on your own, because we are all connected, and we all need to make sure that let somebody know that we just need a little extra loving on in that moment.
Yes. Thank you for that, Monique, because you do have one of those soothing voices too, by the way. Like, she calms you down.
I think you got some incredible advice today. I mean, I learned so much, and I always do listening to the ladies we have here on Dope Chick Collective. I mean, you guys are freaking awesome, and there's so many more. And we'll have different people on different subjects, and it only is going to get better. And I just appreciate you guys, and I hope that the people listening today was able to, pull some words and jewels that they can apply in their own household and then make it a little bit less stress-free. So my family, we often call days like this self-care Sundays. So it's time to pull out that foot massage, get the bubble bath, and I'm done with y'all. It's like, no, but it's been good. I'll let you wrap it up, Danie.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close it out. I just want to thank you, everybody who stopped in, who watched, who liked, who loved. Hopefully, y'all will call in next time so we can interact with y'all on a more personal level. Thank you, ladies, for always giving your best. I always learn a lot from you, ladies. Every time we sit around and talk, we have a lot in common. We have a lot to give our community. So I appreciate y'all, and I'm pretty sure everyone watching will as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to Dope Chycks Collective. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Danie Blue. Have a good one.
Peace out.